Lesson 3 is your introduction to word problems. Now these might seem overwhelming to you from time to time, but just take your time, try and break down the question as much as possible, and try not to get overwhelmed. It can be a lot to try and process, but if you break it down into small pieces, it gets much easier. So if you're given a statement like 6 times a number is less than 72, the first thing I would do is say, what is 6 times a number written out as an equation? So 6 times a number, I would call it a number x, because to say a number implies a variable. So 6 times a number would be 6x, 6 times x. Now less than 72, we learned in the unit about inequalities that less than is written like this, and 72. So this is 6 times a number is less than 72. Now you want to solve for x to figure out what the answer actually is. So we get x by itself by dividing each side by 6, and we're left with x is less than 12. So all numbers less than 12, 6 times them is less than 72. Now it gets a bit more complicated, but still doable if you break it down into small enough pieces. So if you're given this statement, the sum of a number and 2 is 6 less than twice that number. If you look at it as a whole, it just seems very overwhelming. So I like to break it up into smaller pieces. The sum of a number and 2. Sum is important, number and 2. Again, we'll call that number the variable x. So the sum of a number and 2 is written as x plus 2. Then we're going to look at the next piece, which is 6 less than twice that number. So it's referring to the same number as originally stated, because it says that number. Okay, so you have, this is also x still. Oops. X. Twice that number is 2x, right? But now we want 6 less than twice that number. So we're going to put it in equals because it says is. So is the kind of the same as saying equals. So the sum of a number and 2 is equal to 6 less than twice that number. So twice that number is 2x, but we want 6 less than twice that number, so we subtract 6. So if you look through the equation and read through what they said, you'll see that what is written in numbers and variables is equivalent to what is written in words up here. The sum of a number and 2 is 6 less than twice that number. So you would, even though the 6 is written first, you don't put it first here because you're taking the 6 away from what follows. And now you solve for your equation to find out what the number actually is. So we subtract x from each side because we need to have x on one side of the equation. Bring our 2 down. And that equals x minus 6. And now to get that x all alone, we add 6 to each side. So now we know that 8 is x.